Right now at 6, a crash involving an ambulance hurt 4 people in Farmington. We're at the scene with the latest.
And the election countdown is on this morning. What candidates in the race for Hartford's mayor had to say about their vision for the capital city.
Israel struck more targets in Gaza overnight, while Hamas released 2 more hostages. We'll have the latest from the Middle East.
All local, all morning. This is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Thanks for starting yours off with us here at Fox 61 America Areas.
And I'm Tim Lembers. We are off and running on another busy news day. But of course, first things first, let's get you and the kids out the door. Here's Matt Scott with the weather forecast. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you, Bo. Nice to see you on this Tuesday, where most of us can see there's a little fog out there this morning, mainly valley stuff. Nothing reducing significant heat, tried to say visibility, but there's a little out there. Chilled start to the temperatures this morning. Some of you feeling a little frosty, but there are big temperatures on the way. We'll talk about that coming up. Right now, a couple of clouds, mainly high clouds, but again, right along the Connecticut River. A little bit of reduced visibility around Middletown to Hartford. A little rain up to the north. That's staying up to the north. Not worried about that at all. Check these numbers now. 34 in Torrington, 35 in Waterbury, New Milford, Willimantic. It's a little better in Hartford at 38, and the shoreline in the lower 40s on the way up to the low to mid 60s today. Clouds to sunshine. Again, I don't think it's going to be widespread fog, but we'll keep an eye on that. Visibility seems to be about 10 miles across much of the state, but the woman who will know more of that as we take a look at some traffic cameras is Rachel Piscatelli. Good morning to you.
Hey, good morning, Matt. Not widespread across the state here, impacting portions of 91 this morning. We do have some road work that's starting to wrap up, so we're seeing pretty heavy delays over in Meriden. We also have some road work still out in Waterbury this morning, 18 to 22. It does look like traffic, though, is flowing in both directions just fine. And that road work is expected to be out there till 6:30. Where are you going with that camera? Oh, it looks like there might be a crash out there. This is new, so this does look like there may be a crash with a car off the embankment just off of 91 over in Meriden now, near 68 N&E, where they get onto 91 over towards the Merritt Parkway. So that's something we'll continue to watch rather closely. Just be mindful of that. This is happening just now, so I'll try to work on getting more information to you. Either way, New Haven to Hartford, it is a slower drive from New Haven to Hartford at 39 minutes, and Hartford to New Haven looks good on the southbound side of 91. We'll follow up on that crash. It does look like it just happened out on the Merritt Parkway over in Meriden, but just be mindful. It does look like that right lane is going to be blocked at the moment, guys.
All right, Rachel, thanks so much. Well, this morning, Farmington police are investigating a crash involving an ambulance. Several people were taken to the hospital with this one.
Yeah, this happened right on Farmington Avenue near the ramps to I-84. Fox 61's Brooke Griffin is there live with what we know so far. Brooke, good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you both. Officers tell us that 4 people were hurt in this crash. It involved an ambulance and 1 other car. They were here for most of the night, working diligently throughout the night, trying to figure out what happened. That accident reconstruction team was here on site. Now, all of that is clear now. All the traffic is moving smoothly and freely as per usual here at the intersection. If you're familiar with this Farmington area, this is right at the intersection where the hospital turn is. So if you're going to turn right into the hospital, that's where this happened. So far, we know that the crash happened around 10:30 last night. Again, the road is back open, but you can see in the video here, it was a much different story last night as drivers had to take a detour around that crash. From the video, you can see the ambulance rolled over on its side and the sedan was heavily smashed on the front. Police have not yet said what caused the crash. They're still waiting to release that. Officers tell us 1 person has serious injuries and had to be taken to the hospital by helicopter. They say the other 3 people have minor injuries, but were also taken to the hospital as well. They did not specify which of the 2 vehicles those 4 patients did come from. So we are still waiting on a lot of details here, have a lot more questions than answers, really. We have reached out to Farmington Police trying to get those details. But meanwhile, they are asking for your help. They need witnesses for this crash to be able to piece together how exactly this happened. So if you did happen to see anything, again, it was maybe around 10 o'clock or so last night, go ahead and give them a call. They could use that information there at the police department. Live in Farmington, Brooke Griffin, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Brooke, thank you for that update. We do appreciate it.
6:04 right now in the general election, just 2 weeks away, and voters in Hartford have a big decision to make as they elect a new mayor.
Yeah, last night candidates faced off in a debate, but one of them was quite noticeably missing.
And Fox 61's Angela Bavaro is joining us live in the capital city with an update. Angela, good morning.
Erica, Tim, good morning. Arunan Arulampalam, the Democratic nominee for mayor, was not at that debate last night. His team, however, did send a statement to Fox 61 explaining why he was a no-show. So take a look. That reading, quote, Arunan has participated in more than 20 debates, town halls, and forums throughout this election sponsored by various media or nonprofit groups. This event, however, was hastily organized by petitioning candidates at a party supply store owned by one of their relatives. Now, the 5 candidates who were in attendance at that debate and forum last night: Republican nominee Michael McGarry, along with 4 petitioning candidates, activist Giselle Jacobs, Councilman Nick LeBron, cable access broadcaster J. Stan McCulley, and Mark Stewart Greenstein, who bills himself as a liberty-oriented Democrat. Those hopefuls covering topics everything from economic development, crime, education, and they also used their time to call out Arulampalam for being a no-show.
This is a sign of extreme arrogance that borderlines on hubris and an insult to the citizens of Hartford.
And just some reminders here before Election Day, which is Tuesday, November 7th. The pre-election voter registration cutoff deadline, that is 7 days before Election Day, so that would be next Tuesday. However, Connecticut also offers Election Day registration, so that means if you miss that deadline that I just mentioned, you can register and vote in person on Election Day at your town's Election Day registration location. We have more information about that process, everything about Election Day, on our website, that is fox61.com, where you can find an election voter guide. We are live in the capital city this morning. I'm Angelo Bafar, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Angelo, thank you for that report. We certainly appreciate it. All right, on this Tuesday morning, 6:07, Westport police said they have recovered the body of one of the 2 missing boaters after their boat sank in Long Island Sound. He's been identified as 38-year-old Juan Gabriel Valle Pineda of Spring Valley, New York. A total of 5 people were in that boat when it sank just off of Kikini Island Sunday. 3 of the boaters were rescued. As we said, 2 were missing, 1 still missing after rescuers found that other body. Police did stop the search for that other person around 9 o'clock last night.
This morning, 9 people down in Westport have been arrested in connection with attempted vehicle burglaries. Police say they got reports of people trying to get into cars and a garage yesterday morning. Officers say they found the suspects and chased them. They say one of the suspects' vehicles hit an unmarked police cruiser and hurt an officer. Eventually, they took everyone into custody. Police say the suspects range in age from 12 to 20 years old. And Waterford police need your help finding 2 alleged thieves. Police say these 2 people here stole nearly $400 worth of merchandise from Walmart on Saturday. A worker at the front entrance asked for a receipt, but the pair just kept walking. They walked out, got into a dark-colored, older model Jeep Grand Cherokee and took off. If you recognize either of these 2 people, call the police. This morning, Israel is escalating airstrikes of targets along the Gaza Strip ahead of its expected ground invasion.
Israel has vowed to destroy Hamas after that surprise attack that killed hundreds of Israelis earlier this month. Now, officials here in the U.S. said they are still worried that this war could grow into a larger regional conflict. They don't want that. So they have sent military advisors to Israel to help with the planning. 35 workers at the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees have died since the war began. At least 18 workers were hurt in airstrikes in Gaza. Last night, militants did release 2 women who were held hostage. They were both taken to a hospital in Tel Aviv. Israeli officials said Hamas is holding more than 200 people captive still, including some Americans.
I think the combination of Israeli military pressure and the diplomatic pressure is getting people out, unfortunately, not as quickly as we would like. But we think as that pressure is increased, we'll see more people being set free.
A former Hamas leader said the militant group would free more hostages if Israel stops bombarding the Gaza Strip with airstrikes. Now, at this point, and probably going forward, it's going to be very tough to get accurate counts of the dead and injured here. The Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza claimed that at least 5,000 Palestinians have been killed. Israel said more than 1,700 Israelis have been killed. Most of them were civilians who died in the initial attack. We are closely following all developments as the war continues. To make sure you don't miss an update, scan the QR code on your screen for a link to download the free Fox 61 News app.